and good morning. You're probably wondering what's going on out here at the hangar with all the chairs and all the tables and all the gifts and the silent auction area and all that. And this weekend, this Saturday, is the Hangar Dance. It's an annual event, and they have a big band that comes in and plays 40s and 50s music, and people come in all dressed up, and it's a dinner. They can buy dinner tickets or dance tickets, or a combination of the two. And it's just a big fun time, and everybody has a great time dressing up a little bit from the 40s and 50s, or just come in as in what you regularly wear today. It doesn't make any difference, but it's a big fundraiser for the museum, and so it's done annually, and it's been going on for years, and it's a fun thing. It really is. So that's what all this is about. So the airplanes have all been, it's what we call a hangar dump. They've all been taken out. All the airplanes that fly, they're on wheels, have been taken out, and they're out on the apron, and they've been replaced by tables and chairs. And so today's Friday, tomorrow is Saturday is when the event takes place, tomorrow evening. So it's going to be a good time. Also, what's going on is we have the Air Commandos, 603rd and the 609th Air Commando squadrons. They are coming in for a reunion this weekend. So we've got 8 or 9 people that came into Fort Worth, and then there's another group that stayed in Fort Walt at Eglin Air Force Base at that location for the reunion there. So it's kind of split up this year, but that's okay. And so we'll get together. Today's Friday, like I said. We'll get together at the hotel where some of the guys are staying tonight, and we'll have a little meet and greet and talk about some old war stories and all that kind of stuff. And then what I'll try to do, I can't guarantee it, I'm going to try to get each one of those guys, there's only like 8 of them here in Fort Worth for this event. I'd like to try to get each one to say their name, where they're from, and maybe a quick war story that they can tell the public. So that might be fun. So we'll try that and see what happens. But that'll be later on this afternoon for that. But anyway, just letting you know what's going on. Want to answer a couple questions. Back in 2016, towards the end of 2016, 2017, I found out that Kay was here, and I actually worked on her in the 603rd Squadron at Eglin Air Force Base in Alexandria, Louisiana, back in 68 and 69. So that's my affiliation with the airplane, more so than the museum. I do help out at the museum with as much as I can with photography and that type of thing. But Kay is kind of where I'm at. So, and then the guys coming in today to meet them this afternoon after hadn't seen them. I guess our last reunion was before. It was pre-COVID, so it's been a while. It'd be fun to get back and see them again and talk about the squadrons and what took place and talk war stories about it, get all that good stuff. So the aircraft, apparently, I'm trying to get more details, and I've looked with a flashlight, and I'm probably not looking in the right place. I don't see it. But the right-hand main gear, one of the supports apparently is cracked. So that's sort of a added thing we found over the last couple of weeks. And then the left-hand tip tank, I'll try to spin the camera around so you can see it. The left-hand tip tank is in pretty bad shape. I believe they found one that's available in Germany that is an exact match for the airplane. These tip tanks were put on during the modification for the CIA/Air Force modification, which made them the K models. So the tip tanks are kind of a rare item. But I'll let you see the front of the tip tank. It took the brunt of the fall for sure. And so that's where we're at. Something new is in the right-hand gear area, the tip tank. So once again, we're in the investigation phase of what's messed up and what's not, and what's damaged and what can we live with. And of course, stress areas in the airplane need to be checked and all that kind of thing. So that's where we're at. And we're still playing with all the, not playing, but we're still tearing down and looking to see what all has been damaged, and we'll go from there. I mean, that's all we can do at this point. Still trying to get funding, still trying to get all the paperwork for the investigation put to bed. So let me turn this thing around. You can see the tip tank.
Hi, my name's Randy Ryman. I was in the Air Force from 1965 to 69. I was with the Air Commando unit that took the first A-26s to Thailand from England Air Force Base, Louisiana. I was an armament specialist with the 603rd Air Commando Squadron, and we deployed for Thailand June the 6th, 1966, arriving the 9th, and the airplanes arrived the 18th, and I think it was by about the 23rd they had them configured for combat and was doing orientation flights. And I was there, and Armor worked on the gun systems primarily till late November when I left to come back to England Air Force Base.
You got a good war story? That you can tell?
Yeah. Yeah, there was a number of them. One of them that was interesting that some people will remember, the pilots involved. We were a small outfit. It was less than 150 of us total, pilots and air crews and maintenance people all combined. But we were a close-knit outfit. The enlisted people would have parties for the officers would reciprocate and had parties, on a regular basis, but they usually was at night. Since all our missions was at night, the parties would start in the evening and go till usually dawn when the last flights returned, and as the crews came back, they would join the parties. One night, Frank Gorski, who was one of the pilots, came back, and he came down to the shelter we had at the officers' quarter. He came in after debriefing and had a portable rotating beacon in his hand that he turned on, and he reached around and set it up on top of the shelter. Somebody said, "What's that for?" He said, "Joe wanted to know where the party was," and referring to Joe Kittinger, who was out at that time on a mission. So I reckon it was about an hour or so later, we started hearing the unmistakable roar of an A-26 coming over, because it had to be, because they were the only ones flying at night. And I don't know how close he got to the shelter, but he saw that rotating beacon and homed in on it and made a low pass across it and shook the place and shook the leaves on the trees. And Frank said, "Yeah, he's back." So he came down a little bit later after he was debriefed, and one of the crew chiefs got there ahead of him. And he comes down and he said, "Hey," he said, "when Major Kittinger get here," he said, "somebody asked him if that air policeman chewed his butt out up there." Because he came by and he had him stop. Well, Major Kittinger had come by. He came in, he was there and had a couple beers, and I've even got a picture of it when he came in, and finally somebody spoke up and said, "Major Kittinger," said, "did that air policeman chew you out up there?" His face got red, and he looked around a little bit, and he got this grin on his face. He said, "Yeah, he did." He said, "but I tell you one thing," he said, "he was standing at attention when he did it."
That's good. All right, thank you.
Okay, sure.
Hello, my name is Roger Graham. I'm very happy to be here at the A-26 reunion in Fort Worth, and just met Lefty and some other folks. And so just wanted to give you one war story, not one that will be too fast. But one of my best friends, the pilot I flew with at NKP, Bob Sears, we called him Pappy. Unfortunately, Pappy couldn't be here because he had a slip and fall accident and still in rehab, so he couldn't be here for this reunion. But I flew with him for maybe 100 missions, and what a great pilot Pappy was and is, no doubt. We're all getting a little older now, but in 100 missions, mainly over the Ho Chi Minh Trail, 1967, 1968, we saw a little bit of everything, and boy, in the dry season, the trucks were running down the Ho Chi Minh Trail like crazy, and we were after them every night. Fax had targets waiting for us when we got there. It only took about 45 minutes to fly over there from Nakhon Phanom, where we were based. And even before we get there, we saw tracers just filling the sky and attack aircraft, A-26s and other aircraft, putting in their strikes in all those trucks. And it was just like the 4th of July practically every night. And so the biggest war story I guess I can tell, the most successful one for Pappy and me, we got in the middle of all that mayhem one night, and we got credit for 10 trucks. We don't know if, we think it was at least 10, and so that was considered to be a really great mission for us. We were happy about that one, and we didn't have any bullet holes in us when we got back either. That's another great part of that story. So let me tell just one other story, and I'll end. But another good one, it's what happened on the ground, not in the air, that made this other story really unusual. And it was another night, typical night. Pappy and I got out, pre-flighted the airplane, fully loaded armed with ordnance. And we got out the end of the runway, and as we typically did, the pilot did his engine check, ran up the engines, and everything looked and sounded good. So Pappy got clearance for takeoff, and we were turning onto the active runway when all of a sudden the plane lurched hard to the left. And we at least I was in the right seat as the nav. I had no idea what was going on, but I knew it wasn't good, and I'm sure Pappy felt the same way. But at the same time, we heard this incredible bad sound, and all of this was happening at the same time, and then this huge shower of sparks coming across the nose. And we had napalm hanging all under the wings, and all these sparks were flying all over everywhere. And we knew we were in a bit of trouble there, And as soon as we stopped being stunned, which didn't take very long, we shut it down as fast as we could and scrambled out of there. Got away from that airplane. And I thought, well, that might be it for tonight for us. That's quite a bit of drama already, and I'd had enough. But you got to know Pappy Sears' personality, and it didn't. He said, "Wait here." It didn't take but about an hour. He had another airplane. He taxied up, and we finished the pre-flight. Took off, flew a normal mission. So two good stories on Pappy. Wish he were here.
Yeah, well, maybe next time.
Maybe next time.
All right, well, thank you very much. I do appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you, Lefty.